Hello and welcome to another Tech Campus Coffee Live webinar. This is an opportunity for you to learn about career paths at Tech directly from professionals in your field.
We'll be speaking to technical representatives from a variety of fields at Tech, and they'll share why they enjoy what they do.
Participants also have a chance to directly ask speakers and recruiters questions and get a good understanding of why Tech is a great place to work, as well as where your strengths, talents, and learning opportunities lie.
So yeah, my name is Liz. I'm a mining engineer in training in mid-range mine planning here at the Sparwood offices with the Integrated Operations Group, where in our group, we actually bring experience from all four sites together and build our 24-month plans together, both in the mine planning side as well as like the product blending side, so that we could best learn from each other and make sure that we are propelling all four sides together, sharing resources and just best practice. And yeah, so I've been at Tech since I first graduated actually, and tried a couple different roles. I actually started off in mine operations at the Fording River operation, which is the biggest mine in the area. And it was like day shifts and night shifts, a little bit of a different route, I guess, comparing to starting off with a EIT role. So I actually had a really, really good time just learning from different people in operations. Like some of these people have like decades of experience operating equipment, right? And have a completely different perspective than somebody new, like an EIT like I would have. So that was actually really rewarding and really fun. And then I was moved to engineering after that rotation, where I've been since, and tried a couple of different things in the mid-range space, from data querying and a lot of the implementation of improving and modernizing our data systems, to helping out with just projects to set the mine up for success in the 2-year timeframe, as well as blending our components that's made into products for customers.
Awesome. Exciting. You've had an exciting journey so far.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm grateful for that.
Awesome. Well, I'm kind of curious, and I know a little bit about integrated operations, but I think that might be a kind of a new concept for a lot of people joining now, wondering like, what is it? How do we get there as a company? And this is a really interesting story, I think, for Tech in terms of what brought around this sort of I guess there's a new way of looking at mid-range planning in particular. So I know you talked a little bit about it, but would you mind diving into a little bit more about what this integrated planning group looks like? Is it all the mid-range planners that are pulled into one office and then supporting each individual site? Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
Cool.
So this is a really good example. Actually, I'm glad Stacy brought this up because, as we know, mining is a bit of a traditional industry. People have been mining ever since the first one of our ancestors picked up a piece of rock as a tool, right? But yeah, this is especially here at Tech, like we're really in an environment where you have full support from the company to try new things out and innovate and do things better. So like in my team, Integrated Operations, only started about 2-3 years ago. And it's been tremendous, actually, in my opinion. Of course, I'm biased. But yeah, just as an EIT, and like I mentioned before, bringing in my perspectives from one particular site, from like, the operations department to the engineering department, to seeing how actually all of these things could have different philosophy behind them, and be operated through different lenses from different sites. And there are a lot of, sorry.
You okay?
Yeah, sorry, I just saw like a speech bubble, and for a second I thought it was for me.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, like Stacy said, all the mid-range planners from different sites just like have brought different experiences together. And of course, there are a lot of, originally, some people were actually a little worried about it because mid-range planning is a very, very busy role. Like every month you have several different deadlines, and people are worried about, oh, how are we going to do all these extra improvement projects? But actually, there was definitely a lot of synergy of us coming together and finding a lot of redundancy. Sorry, I shouldn't say that way, but I guess work that we're all doing slightly differently that we ended up consolidating and improved together. And yeah, the synergies really helped us improve a lot of our process. For example, the data querying that I mentioned earlier, we have evolved so much from Excel sheets that live on different people's desktops, for example, that, got the job done at the time to consolidate databases that's transferable to different sites and way easier to troubleshoot and to maintain and to audit. And yeah, and that was like a really great learning opportunity for all of us as well. And actually, while we're on the topic of a lot of you guys being students, our previous co-op student has actually helped us develop a lot of that system. So that was a really cool example of something you could potentially be involved in at Tech.
Awesome. I know I was gonna have a little selfless plug for like the co-ops that have been so successful in your group, which is awesome. And I think you guys do a great job of supporting the co-ops too. And that's usually a theme across the company. I really see that a lot where we are hiring a lot of so this particular co-op that just left their group, he was a strong performer, did really well, amazing attitude. And he left with an offer letter in hand to go back to school, finish his last term, and then he was coming back for a full-time job, that's the dream, right? That's exactly what we're trying to achieve with this program, is give people some amazing experience, but hopefully it leads to something full-time. And, Liz and her team have been so amazing with supporting students through their growth and learning about this, like you say, a fairly new concept within mining, but wow, it's really seen some amazing success within the company. And then I guess maybe while we're talking about co-op side of things, can what you think about like maybe some of the students that you've seen come through, and then maybe yourself as a new engineer, are there some skill sets that you've really monopolized on, or you see other students really leaning on that's led to their success? And I know you've maybe focused more on the innovative side of things, but is there something that you would say recommend for students to focus in or get some knowledge in?
Absolutely. I think the number one thing really is your attitude. Like it's also cliche, but you really put in, you really get, oh my gosh, you really get out what you put in.
I get excited about this too, don't worry.
Absolutely. But yeah, like I've seen, it's really amazing actually, seeing how much our students have picked up and absorbed and, taken a project and ran with them, made something absolutely your own, and yeah, like really take ownership and responsibility. And like one of the students in the videos mentioned, I couldn't stop smiling when they were talking about this part too. Like you really get given some really invaluable opportunities that at some other workplaces, maybe you don't get to do until a couple of years into your career. We definitely give our students real responsibilities. And yeah, sometimes it could be a steep learning curve, but just with an open attitude, as long as you're open to learn and you're open to ask questions, people are out there to answer your questions, and we're all very proud of our co-ops and of their achievements and of their curiosity. So yeah, definitely the number one thing is just keeping an open mind and don't be afraid to learn.
No, 100%. I think that's great. And then and something you mentioned there, I'll mention too, because we see that a lot on there. And so we do an evaluation with all the students when they're leaving their term to make sure like it was what they expected, it was what that we sort of advertised, if you will. And then we also do an evaluation with the hiring managers so that we can add some strength to any application that, say if you weren't able to have it, we didn't have a position approved when you're leaving, but maybe we want to see you come back again. We have that on file, so that adds strength to any future applications. But literally the most common feedback we often get from that student survey is, I can't believe how much responsibility I was given as a co-op. And like that steep learning curve that Liz was just talking about, it's super common because as you can imagine, coming into a whole new work site, learning a new process, learning a new approach to mining, and especially with all the technology that we're implementing across the sites and our focus on innovation. Boy, it's gonna be a quick learning, but then once you get your feet under you and you understand what's happening, like then that's when you just blossom in terms of your learning abilities and be able to catch on to so many things. So that's I know that I could say that because I recruit here, so I'm like, oh, I'm trying to sell the jobs, but it's a pretty easy sell because we get that feedback from the students day in and day out, and then you see it through the video. So yeah, it's kind of cool. So in addition to that, I guess too, Liz, you talk a little bit about that attitude, and I think that's what I often go to too, is like 100% the attitude coming in, that willingness to learn is such a huge asset. In terms of like on the technology front and your success you've seen in that side of things of like looking at new ways to manage data. I mean, that's the big talk these days around mining is like big data and managing that. Can you talk a little bit about, I guess, are there any courses or any areas that you focus in? Like, should the students be taking programming courses or learning how to do that really detailed in Excel? Like, I guess, is there any recommendations you would make for a new grad or a student on that technical front?
Yeah, I think the number one thing is as you go through your courses, and maybe some of you have had previous co-op experiences, really think about what excites you and what you're interested in.
Mhm.
And because there's so many different facets of this as well, right? And yeah, really think about the problems you care about, that you're passionate about, and look at that versus your own strengths and what you're interested in learning, and kind of like look at the problems through that lens, because it could be challenging sometimes, especially like we do operate in a very complicated environment here, like in the mountains. But yeah, just that also, on the other hand, reflects on how we could have so many different learning opportunities for all kinds of different strengths, right? So for example,
Mhm.
on the data and technology side, I actually, when I was still in school, like I didn't think I was like very strong in terms of more computer sides of things. Like some of my friends they were interested in coding and they have been doing that since they were in high school or like younger. And to me, that was all new. Like it was something that I only started learning in university and through my co-ops. But and that kind of touches on Elena's question on mentorship as well.
Mhm.
Just the people that I've worked with, and just asking, I guess, whichever job that you're in, what could be the most helpful thing you could do for the team. I was really able to hone in on just a couple things that I could do immediately, actually, to help right away, and kind of just started building from there. So I guess that's a bit of a general answer. So I guess step one, again, going back to like, don't be afraid to ask questions. Whichever team you're in, don't feel like you have to pretend you know things you don't. Like people appreciate your questions, like 100%. But I guess on a more like practical side, just any assignments that you have in school or just you come across, just think about do it in a way that you would want to pass it on to other people, right? And including the projects you do at Tech as well. Like, and I guess like if you see something that seems like could be done better, like, raise
Mhm.
your concerns and maybe look into it. In actually right now, comparing to a couple of years ago, Tech ourselves has had a lot more resources around this.
Mhm.
Their entire like Microsoft Teams groups, like with people with a lot of technical experiences that are ready to support you, as well as Udemy courses that Tech supports. So I would just say, if this is something you're interested in, even if you haven't been coding since you were 5, don't be afraid to look into it. And again, there are common like coding languages like SQL, Python. We're getting into a lot of Power BI stuff. So something you could just kind of look up and see if you're interested in it and give it a shot.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think something I often talk about is just the environment here really fosters that growth and really like challenging people to, like you said, look at ways that maybe, hey, is this the best way to do this? Maybe we could look at a different way to do it. And like Tech has a program here, Ideas at Work as well, which is a really neat program that really encourages our people to really start looking at, hey, do you have a great idea that you think could work? It might be in your field, it might be in a different area of the mind. We encourage you to put them forward, and we're going to look at them. We have a team that's assessing those ideas to see if it's something that'll be valuable for the company. So just, I guess it just fosters that sort of that innovative mindset for all of us to really be looking out for ways that we can do things better and continuously improve. So yeah, well, that's the whole premise of that group that Liz is in today too, is that integrated operations side of things. Awesome. All right. So Liz, I'm sure, like you said, your group is fairly new, if you will. Like lots of people have worked in the company for years, but now have gathered into this group, and we have a sort of a new way of looking at things. Um, I guess what gets you excited about the next few years? Is there anything that you're working on or plans for the company that you've been hearing about that gets you excited about the next few years at Tech?
Absolutely. So one of the top things, I don't know if you guys have checked out, we actually had a new mission statement where and a new like, climate goal in terms of like Tech's approach to sustainability. Actually, our goal is to achieve like net zero greenhouse gas emission by 2050 across all aspects of our business and activities. And we're just learning about this in one of the sessions that I had with my team a couple of days ago, actually. And there are, of course, many layers to that, and it is a complex problem. But again, going back to, I guess like the top reason as a student that you would want to be at Tech is that, yes, there are absolutely lots of complex problems to solve. Like you're not gonna like come here and just be bored at your desk, but we are committed to solving them. And actually, especially that I actually first started getting interested in Tech when I was a student, almost 10 years ago now, when I joined this sustainability report competition where me and my peers reviewed a bunch of sustainability reports from different mining companies, and Tech was one of the companies that really stood out to me in terms of not only having, really cool goals, but really concrete plans in terms of how they're trying to achieve the goals. And so I started getting interested in it, and every couple, years, I would just check in again and see what these companies are doing with their sustainability reports. And you see progress, and you see new goals, and more ambitious and goals that I really felt like align with my values. So yeah, very excited about just how the company continues to improve and provide resources that the world needs in a more and more sustainable way, because yeah, we all need that.
Yeah, no, it's true. And again, you sort of joke, like, I know it's our job to sort of sell the company, but it's a pretty easy sell when you are aligned with the values of the company and you feel good about the company you're working for, because they're making decisions that are based with the premise to constantly improving and making it better and being sustainable as a company. Actually, some of the co-op roles that we are going to be hiring for in the upcoming May term are actually with our decarbonization group, and they're going to be working on, like, students are going to be working on projects to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from like some of our coal processing plants and our dries. So pretty cool that as a student you get to work in some, really make an impact and put your stamp on some pretty intense projects that are going to be leading us to that overall goal of carbon neutral by 2050. So that's pretty cool. Something else I want to talk about, because I know we talk about, obviously we're talking a lot about the technical side and a lot about the day-to-day and what students are going to be doing. In the video you saw lots of little snippets of outside of work, and that's something we take a lot of pride in as Tech employees, of that work-life balance and the things we get to do. We've got sites, obviously, Liz and I both are based in the Elk Valley area, so that's southeastern BC, right in the Rocky Mountains. So Pretty spectacular place to live, let's just say. I don't want to start bragging about it, but it's pretty great. And then we, moving further west from here, we have our trail operations, which is in Trail, BC, and then next to another little ski town, funny enough, Roslyn, and that's also got some amazing lifestyle opportunities, very similar to the lifestyle you'd have in the Elk Valley area. And then again, you can move further to Kamloops area, which is near our Highland Valley copper operations. And again, some pretty spectacular places to live. So we're actually really, really lucky as a mining company. Not many mining companies are going around talking about how amazing their locations are, whereas we get to be places where people technically are vacationing basically, and we get to live here. So anyway, a little bit about the brag part of it, but I guess I was going to ask Liz, what do you do for fun when you're not at work and you're, and I know you guys work hard because I've seen you guys in the office, but what do you do for fun when you're not in the office?
Absolutely. And I just want to preface this with, this is like moving to Sparwood. It was actually my first time living in a small town for a more extended period of time. Like I'm from Montreal originally. So yeah, honestly, I did not know I was gonna have so much fun here. And I'm a huge chicken. Like I get, I'm so scared of like height and all that stuff. But I actually got into mountain biking and skiing after moving here, and like these have been my favorite things. And there are so many amazing places to hike to in this area too. Like it's like a private Banff basically. We have all these like pristine high elevation lakes. Really cool landscape with like sheep, elk, deer, like all kinds of cool animals around. And yeah, it's for actually quite protected. So yeah, a lot of these outdoor activities.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. No, it's true. Like we have a bit for everything. Like I know a lot of people have come here and came from the city and they're like, oh my goodness, this is a little out of my comfort zone. This is really different. And it is. It's definitely different if you're coming from the city. But most people come here and they're just mesmerized by the beauty of the area, and we are quite accessible. So to give you a reference point, in the Elk Valley area, we're just about 3 hours from Calgary. So we're just over the BC Alberta border. So you're still able to get to Calgary on a weekend. Same with Trail. Roslyn Trail there's an airport near there too. There's Nelson, that's not too far away, which is a little bit of a bigger center. And then obviously Kamloops near the Highland Valley copper operations. And then we also do hire students within our technology team, which are based out of Vancouver. So there are some roles in Vancouver, but yeah, the bulk of our roles, especially in the mining space, which I suspect most of you attendees are coming out of, those are mostly going to be in operations. And I would argue, maybe Liz, maybe you would say the same, that really great to get that operational experience, to really be able to make an impact. I think that's a great place for a mining engineer to start, would be at ops. I mean, do you want to speak to that maybe a bit, Liz?
Absolutely. And yeah, especially in our environment, again, like operating in the mountains is not easy, right? We have like really complicated terrain, really complicated ecosystem that we're working with. So getting that, I think, really, really, really helpful. No matter where you want to take your degree later on, like we have people that have gone to Vancouver after they got field experience, or have decided that they actually really prefer to stay in operations or move along in engineering. But yeah, regardless of people's career trajectory, like honestly, everyone I've talked to cannot recommend the field experience more.
Yeah, for sure. Great. And then I guess as a co-op too, I often tell people they get quite a bit of field experience, and that's because the bulk of our roles are going to be in short range planning. Some get mid range, and that's a little bit of a different role, especially, and long range as well. But long range still is back to the site usually. But I usually say about 50% of their time in the field. I guess can you speak to that a little bit and maybe explain a little bit, like in a short range role, which is a lot of our students, what kind of stuff would they be getting experience doing in a short range space?
Yeah, so in the short range space, I mean, I think a lot of us are mining engineering students, so you know how like kind of from a big picture way down, like from you have your long range mine plan, which is your entire pit, your life of mines, and then your mid range plan, like where I'm at, so like what the next 12 weeks, sorry, 24 months need to look like. And, big picture wise, all these have to make like economic sense. It has to make sense with our permits and environment. But in the short range space is where kind of like the meat and potato of how we're going to get all these wonderful plans integrated. And hello?
Oh, yeah, there you can. I can hear you now, Liz. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I think I got muted for some reason. Anyway, yeah, so in the short range space, like that's when you would actually get to go out. It seems like I keep getting muted.
I know, me
anyway.
too. It keeps muting us. I don't know what happened. That's
Okay.
weird. Okay, sorry. Keep on going. We'll
Sorry.
see. Hopefully stops.
Yeah. So there are several different aspects. There's like planning the mine. So in order to actually get to this spot, a lot of different things have to happen. Like your shovel headings has to respect the way that the coal is dipping. So we're making sure that we're recovering. We already got through all those rock materials to get to the coal, like making sure we're mining in a way that recovers all of the coal. And so that we make sure we have the correct qualities as well. It's not too dirty or it didn't get over dug. So there's like the seam orientation, there's water, like, it snows or rains, and there's also like groundwater. So how do you make sure that we are removing water from like the active phases while making minimal impact, like making sure the stuff that you're pumping out actually, like the water is actually getting properly treated on spec. And yeah, so we're doing things in the proper way that respects our environment. There's like cables for the different, for example, pumps or like the electric shovels or instruments that need to be powered. There's geotech, where you need to, of course, consider like how the rocks in the wall are dipping and or like sometimes faulting. So there, and how to use your ramp system to access where you need to go without rehandling too much material. So doing it all in the most efficient way. So there's like a lot of technical planning work involved, as well as directly working with the operations supervisors who will get to share their experience with you and give you feedback in terms of what have worked and maybe what haven't worked. And it can be challenging sometimes, right? Then let's say a big storm hit or a truck broke down unexpectedly where you were supposed to put a ramp down. And it could be frustrating, but these are all like real life problems that I think is very transferable experience that you could bring with you, no matter like which side you end up at. So a little bit, and of course we have roles like coal quality and survey where you might be in the field even more as well. And they're all like drone blasts, and they're all like top roles that people recommend for getting really valuable.
Awesome. Yeah, no, and it's true. Like we talk a little bit about like giving the responsibility to students, and then the other side of that is, what's also poses that interesting twist to it all is that, yeah, you're looking at traditional truck and shovel operations for some of our pits, but then we're also introducing autonomous haul trucks within one of our operations here in coal, and then we also have our Highland Valley Copper operations that's introducing autonomous. So when you think about planning and all that, you're planning for potentially a couple different scenarios, whether we're going to have a fully autonomous fleet, whether we're going to have a hybrid fleet of autonomous and conventional. And so anyway, there's lots of really interesting movement within the sites, and then obviously looking at different ways that we're going to approach this, and some may be more suited for traditional truck and shovel and sort of conventional trucks, and some may be more suited for autonomous. So that sort of stuff that and challenges that we're working through right now to figure out how that's going to look in the future. Because 5, 10 years from now, boy, mining's going to continue to look very different than it does today. And so all those interesting challenges that Liz brought up, yeah, I mean, there's that, and then there's on top of that, we're looking at new technologies in different ways. Other things we have too are using drones to support some of our survey work. And then also in the geotechnical space in particular, we're using a lot of drones to support that and get into areas that maybe wouldn't be as easy or as safe for a person to get into. So it's going to look quite different, hey, over the next few years, Liz, than what it looks today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah. Just like adding to those like many wonderful examples, my team's actually been looking at like trolley assist. So having the trucks hooked up to a trolley where we would be able to use electricity to assist the trucks up a ramp. Again, that would be so good for our carbon footprint, burning like way less diesel for the same amount of productivity, for actually improved productivity. So one of those examples where this could be cost saving, more productive and good for the environment. And again, just as a young engineer, like I know I want to position myself at a place where I will continue to learn. Like Stacy mentioned, like the mining world could look so different like a decade from now, right? So yeah, definitely highly recommend. It could be really challenging work, but definitely a really good place to position yourself for setting yourself up for the future.
That's awesome. Great. Appreciate it. It's fun. It's great that you guys played along, and I do appreciate you guys all tuning in and listen to us yammer on a little bit about why we love working at Tech so much. But yeah, and then I guess if anyone is really interested and really intrigued by the chance to work at Tech, you can keep an eye on our website, and we've shared the link on there. But you could go to tech.com/careers, and you can find our co-op positions are actually currently posted right now. So I mentioned a couple of the mining roles we actually have. We're looking at least 5, 6 mining specific roles right now that will be coming up for the May term. Every 4 months, we're hiring a whole new batch of students. So there's going to be almost 100 students joining the team coming up here in May. And then almost every term, we have something similar to that, somewhere between 70 to 100, depending on the term. So there's lots of opportunity every 4 months to join and get your chance to work at Tech. Most of our co-op opportunities are 8 months and 12 months in duration, just so everyone's aware. We don't have a ton of 4-month opportunities, unfortunately. So once your 8-month opportunity comes up, make sure you keep an eye on our website and put your application in. Pranav, did you have another question?
Sure. So I just have a general question. So I am a graduating student, and just looking at the roles at Tech, I've seen like obviously Liz is working as a mining EIT within the innovation and engineering team. So one of the reasons I asked this is that is there a formal rotational graduate program at Tech? And also if someone like I'm interested into data analytics and I am from a mechanical background, can I see myself working at, like using my mechanical background along with my data analytic experience and applying for the mining EIT role?
Perfect. Yeah, no, certainly. So I guess to step back to the first part, we do have an EIT program here, obviously, and we'll support you to get your professional designation, and we'll make sure that you meet all the requirements that you do, and obviously get that variety of experience. The thing that's a little bit different with our program here is that it's not set in stone exactly how it's going to play out. So it's a kind of a pick your own adventure a little bit, and with your supervisor. And maybe Liz, you can sort of chime in if you can explain it a bit better than that. But we usually stay in a rotation probably for about I would say 12 months, maybe a little bit more than that. So we try to stick someone in a position for at least a year or so to really feel like you have a good understanding of it. And then we'll kind of look within the company to see which opportunities are coming up and where your interests are, and find one that's a good fit for you for the next section. So that's how we do it. And if someone's looking for a new grad position, like you will be soon, Pranav, we do post them as new graduate or EIT roles. They come up as an as needed basis. So they're not, it's not like we just do it like only in May and only in January. We kind of do it all through the year as needed. So it might not be exactly when you graduate, but what you could do is set yourself up for like job alerts and that sort of thing, and then find something. there's tons of work in the mechanical space around data for sure. So lots of, if that's the area you're interested in, boy, we've got a whole business improvement group that are focused on big data and really looking at like reliability type maintenance projects. We've got lots of people that are working within the technology space that are supporting mechanical projects. So lots happening there. Sorry, Liz, do you want to chime in maybe and add some color to to my spiel?
Oh, like you've pretty much covered it. I just wanted to add an example. Like one of my friends is actually has his background in mechatronics engineering, and yeah, he's been a really, really strong member on his team actually.
Nice.
And again, like Stacy said, like for more mechanical specific data systems, like there's tons of innovation in that space as well. I can't speak to it as well, but yeah, I know there's tons of innovation.
Yeah,
No,
there's lots
that
going
sounds
on.
great. Thanks for answering.
Yeah.
I guess I just missed a small bit here at the start, Liz. What's your educational background?
Mining engineering.
Thanks.
Awesome. And then now there's a couple of questions just yeah, so someone's asked about EIT positions. So yeah, just keep an eye on the website and you will see them come up every so often. And then we often hire in batches too. So that either be a new project or something happens and we'll move some EITs to a different role and do a bit of a rotation. And then you'll see a few positions come up on the website, or we might have one posting that represents several opportunities. So just something to keep an eye out for, as well as GIT. Yeah, so geologists in training, for GITs, we do have opportunities for them. Again, same thing. Keep yourself open for job alerts. Keep an eye on the website. There is a lot of recruitment happening. I can tell you that right now. I mean, if you looked at the website, you can see pretty quick. You're like, holy cow, this is a lot to wade through. The one thing I always tell people also to note when it comes to looking for work and looking for jobs on our website, and I think most people here are probably familiar with mining or maybe come from mining background, but if not, I do also recommend people look a little bit more into some of the roles, do a little bit of research prior to putting your name in, because some of them aren't necessarily called mining engineer, or they might not be called geologist. It might be like, hey, a part of our technical marketing team, say, for example, or it's a decarbonization role, or operational excellence. We have a few different roles that are kind of unique spins, and we can hire a few different disciplines within them. So it's worth just taking a little look, see what's there, check out some of those roles, because those might not be your like quote unquote traditional engineering role, or it might be not called exactly what you study at school, but they were open to taking different disciplines. So it's a sort of our take on what a role would be within the tech organization. So we have some unique names to keep you on your toes. So certainly do a bit of research on the website to see what you're interested in. I think is it someone's got their hand up? Akins, is it? Is that how you say it? You just want to put your mute off and then there.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Akins. So I have a good processing background, but I'm currently studying chemical engineering at UNB, and I wanted to know anything for me, some of the opportunities for me if I'm to apply or anything. Yeah, and
Sure.
I wanted to know if I was to apply. Where to apply to, or who to address the letter to, either to maybe the hiring team or anything at all, any information at all that will help me to apply for such positions. Yeah.
Yeah, and you said it was a chemical or process engineering you're studying?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Currently studying chemical engineering, but my first degree is about processing or gold processing. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, there's tons of opportunity. I mean, obviously, within Highland Valley Copper, we have our mill processing positions. Trail facility actually hires a ton of chemical engineers. So that's our processing facility that has like, oh gosh, like 26 different plants that actually make up that facility. So you saw in the quiz probably there, the Kahoot, we recycle e-waste. They also process zinc there from our Red Dog operations. So there's some really cool stuff happening there, and that's a really neat technical role. Also in our processing plants here at the coal mines here, we also have process engineers. Trail also hires process control engineers. So if that's a direction you want to go in, there's some opportunity there. So tons to keep an eye out for. Again, we also things like technical marketing. We hire process engineers, sometimes in operational excellence. So depends on the direction you want to take your career. But honestly, the sky's the limit. There's lots of different ways that you could get into the company with that. I feel like there was another question that you asked in there, and I forget what it was. Who do you address your cover letter to? So I think the hiring team is likely your best bet, and only because we have a team of recruiters that support all our different business units and operations. So there wouldn't be one person that would be looking at it. And I guess that's always something that I throw out as a word of advice is if you're putting out a resume, know that it's probably like you want to highlight your technical skills for sure, but I would just say think about how you're messaging that information, and that make it understandable for someone who may not be an engineer, because it might be someone like me. It might be someone, I'm not an engineer, but I do hire engineers. So I'm used to some of the lingo and all the things I need to look for. But if you get crazy technical on something, it might be lost on someone like me. And that's usually the first person who's going to look at it is someone like myself, who's a recruiter, specializes and has worked really close with the hiring manager, but they're not an engineer. So you want to make sure that when the hiring manager does see your resume, it makes sense, but make it make sense for someone, a few layman's terms, if you will, or highlight some of your skills and interest and, maybe some achievements you've had, so that it makes it really easy for someone like myself to pick out those key points to make sure you're qualified for the role.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. You're welcome. Agra, I don't know. It just says your email. I know that we talked about this last time, didn't we?
Yeah. I should really sign off with a different account and put
That's
my name down.
okay. It's all good.
My name's Avijit though.
That's
My
right.
question was that you mentioned like one of the cool things about tech is that there's so many different positions that you can apply for in any and every area that you might be interested in. But like, for example, in the program I'm doing right now, we learn since it's business analytics, we learn both analytics and operations management and process improvement, optimization, that kind of stuff. But my passion does rest in data science, data analytics, that side of things. So is it possible to every now and then collaborate with other teams on a project to maybe, like test those optimization skills, keep brushing up on them? Because those are some classes that I enjoy very much as well, even though they don't completely go together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to say, Liz.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go, please. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Got too excited again. But yeah, that's another advantage I would say actually for working at Tech. Like, it's such a big company. We actually have an entire user group of people that all do data analytics. Like when I first started doing it, I was the only one on the team that's like physically immediately around me that was doing it. But I actually got so much resources from all across the company, like from like people that worked in Vancouver in different operations that I had never met before. So yeah, if anything, I think it's an opportunity that you're immediately open to work with maybe different teams to like share your experience and, learn from different teams.
That's a huge value add for sure for anybody coming in with that kind of experience. Yeah, and like you say, even something like that degree like that speaks operational excellence for me in terms of the type of role that would be a good fit for you, because it's a little bit like financy and analytics on the business side, but then you're also working with all the different engineering teams and kind of looking for like outside the box solutions to problems that we've been seeing. And so whether you take a finance sort of approach and look at it from a numbers game, or if you look at it like suggesting ideas and different ways to look at problems that or sort of challenges that we're seeing. And so that could be a really good way to do it, is like through that analytics lens, if you will. So yeah.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
And just another quick question.
Sure.
I think I talked about this last time also. I love the concept of race at Tech.
Mhm,
So I was
mhm.
just wondering, because I know it's in the Vancouver office for sure, being in UBC, and having talked to a couple of people from the Vancouver office. But I was just wondering if that department also exists as standalone like teams in every office of Tech, or is it like a collaboration that happens with this huge team sitting in Vancouver?
Do you want to take that one?
Sure, yeah. So we actually, like most of the mine sites have OpEx teams. And actually, I was just going to mention almost every single team that I've run into actually at Tech have been updating and revamping our data system. So you could be with the short range planning team and updating the daily data tracking, like that's actually like the first project that I did on like the BI side of things. You could be with the plant team and learning how to analyze the Fiennes data better. Like for example, even just like at Fording River, in a given year, we could go through 70 different coal seams, all have like, 20 different types of properties. And you could see how the data could get a lot, like it could get messy really quick. And how do you, if you really have the passion for helping, big data and helping companies make better decisions, there's definitely, I would say there's opportunities everywhere actually, especially if you're interested in doing that as well as getting some site experience. I would say there's definitely a huge need for that. And one of my friends actually got to work with autonomous haulage data, as well as how to integrate that with the traditional haulage data. And yeah, have it all make sense like down through the entire system. So it's robust for accounting and for finance, as well as for operations and engineering.
Sounds like a pretty cool project. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's the so you have the race team and sort of that group that's in Vancouver, and then we have basically, like Liz said, race people sort of embedded at all the operations and like pushing projects forward, but working hand in hand with that operational group who are, the experts in what's happening day to day, right? So give some cool opportunity for sure. Yeah.
Thank you so much for answering the questions.
Yeah, thanks for asking. That's great. Perfect. All right. Well, I think we've got everything covered. Yeah, if anyone has any follow-up questions, you've got some contact with our the emails that you've already received from us. So if you're interested in learning more, there's obviously Alana's posting a bunch of in-person stuff. I know it's exciting for everybody, including us. We're hitting a lot of campuses this winter, which is amazing. So hopefully we get to see all of you guys in person and meet you and answer any questions you might have, or you can learn more about it from the different reps that we have everywhere we go. So there's a little bit of a schedule hopping up in the chat there. You can also check the student landing page as well, and it'll give you some more information. And I think, Sally, you've got it. You're great with the LinkedIn and letting everybody know where you're going and where we're going to be. So certainly myself, Sally, we have the events always posted. So feel free to jump on our LinkedIn and follow us, and you can get all the information you need. Awesome. All right, we'll wrap it up. I think call it a night.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Liz, and thank you so much, Stacy. Wanted to thank everyone for your time. And I had one last hand raise up here. Okay.
Hi, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you.
I'm the vice president of the CIM Saskatoon student chapter,
Okay.
and I know you guys are going to go to the University of Saskatchewan to doing a presentation. I'm just wondering if you guys need any help, and you can reach out to me, and maybe I can help you to set up that event.
Oh,
awesome.
perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you. I will connect with you afterwards. Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
met Natania in CIM convention this year.
Oh, Natalia. Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
That's awesome.
Very good. Awesome. All right, everybody. Thank you again so much for coming this evening. We hope this was helpful and you learned a couple new things, but we hope to see you hopefully next time.